Welcome back to Whispers of Turkish Stars, the sanctuary for viewers who know the truth rarely shouts from billboards, it murmurs behind velvet curtains, between the beats of a camera shutter, in the breath a public figure takes before answering a loaded question. Today, we are not tiptoeing around speculation, we are stepping into the eye of a storm that could redraw the map of Turkish show business. Our spotlight turns toward two names that, when spoken together, make timelines freeze and hearts misfire: Gökberk Demirci and Özge Yagis. This is not the glossy fantasy their fans have scripted for years. This is a labyrinth of temptation, power, and a decision that landed like a gavel in a silent courtroom: impossible. Before we dive into what that word really means, make sure you are subscribed to Whispers of Turkish Stars. If you value thoughtful storytelling and careful sourcing, hit like so our voice cuts through the algorithm's static. And if you want to be part of the inner circle that keeps this channel independent, tap join below. Membership gives you priority in our discussions and helps fuel the kind of deep dive narratives you won't hear anywhere else. Now, step with me behind the curtain. In the spectacle of Turkish media, there are flickers, there are blaze-ups, and then there are infernos capable of swallowing a season whole. The developments around Gökberk Demirci and Özge Yagis belong to that last category. For weeks, a rumor didn't just grow, it evolved, hardened, and acquired details. A magnetic pull, some say, drew them into a gravitational field that neither career management nor common sense could easily diffuse. On the surface, it reads like the long-awaited reunion fans have storyboarded since their earliest on-screen pairing. Online, it is a looping reel of nostalgia edits, late-night threads, and the enduring hope that fiction might step through the screen and take up residence in real life. But just as the fantasy reached a fever pitch, a sentence cut through the heat like cold iron: "This love is impossible." The line did not descend via press release or a publicist's careful phrasing. It was whispered, we're told, by a source with unambiguous proximity, a verdict delivered in a room where phones were parked face down and the doors were checked twice. To understand why those four words hit like a winter wave, we need to return to the moment that catalyzed it all. It didn't happen under fireworks, it happened under chandeliers. A private soirée, the sort of invitation-only evening where the wine is immaculate and the secrets wear silk gloves. Drew names from every echelon of the industry. That night was a barrage of toasts and cleverly curated playlists, but the real electricity pulsed in the dim corners. Multiple attendees, people nested in the inner orbit of both stars, contend that Gökberk and Özge carved out a pocket of quiet away from the hum. It wasn't a polite chat between former colleagues. It stretched. It deepened. The room faded to a watercolor around them. Something about the cadence of that exchange shifted the axis of the night. After that, the floodgates were not merely ajar, they were carried off their hinges. What followed was a stream of whispers dressed as intel, screenshots of 3 a.m. confessions floating through private chats, a driver idling at an address twice in a week, calendars adjusted with surgical precision. The narrative sharpened until it felt less like rumor and more like an outline of something that wanted to be real. And yet, back we come to that hammer blow of a word: impossible. Why would a man as steady as Gökberk, a professional who has weathered both fanfare and fallout, commit to such a stark label? Sources say the word surfaced over dinner: no cameras, no stray recording devices, a final syllable in a heavy conversation. It's sensational, he reportedly argued. It doesn't reflect reality. The story buckles under its own mythology. It's a house built on shifting ground. Pause with me, Whispers of Turkish Stars family. When someone calls a love story structurally impossible, are they denying the heartbeat of it, or naming the architecture that cannot carry the weight? Is impossible a door slammed on a person, or a barricade thrown against circumstance? Drop your read in the comments. Members with the badge, I'll be watching for your takes to pin. Don't forget to like as you scroll. The impossibility, according to those closest to the situation, is not about a lack of feeling. It's about too much history and too many obligations converging at the same junction. Hovering over all of this is a ghost, call it shared legacy, call it the echo of a past chapter that refuses to cease knocking. In this business, nostalgia is both ally and saboteur. It inflates fan armies, but it can also reduce two fully evolved people to a single beloved memory. If they were to cross the line, that collision, past myth meeting present reality, could be explosive. Would old warmth fade into something gentler, or would the embers leap the fence and devour gardens on both sides? That is the equation that keeps publicists, managers, even directors, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. And then there is the wall that doesn't move, family. Those who have watched Özge Yagis carefully know her life rests on a foundation of guarded peace. Her inner circle protects that peace with an intensity that makes intrusions bounce off the surface. They've seen what breathless narratives can do to the spirit. They understand the value of a name, the precariousness of trust. There have been moments before when family opinion didn't just whisper in her ear, it set the compass. Within the calculus of this situation, those variables reportedly do not favor a renewed bond with Gökberk. Not because there isn't respect. By all accounts, there is deep admiration for his discipline and for the loyalty of the audience he has cultivated. But the package he carries is heavy: headlines that flare under the slightest spark, a schedule that eats weekends, obligations that stretch across borders. He is, at this moment, whether on the open sea. Özge's priorities gravitate towards steadiness, quiet rooms, and the hum of a private life. She wants a harbor, he is navigating currents and crosswinds. Those close to both suggest that the friction between a need for shelter and a path defined by gusts and deadlines creates a dissonance no amount of yearning can fully mute. As chatter spiraled, Özge made a choice that says more than any denial: she stepped back. It wasn't passive retreat, it was intentional quiet. Posts thinned out. Captions tightened. The lens turned inward. People close to her counsel recommended this course. Let the heat subside, they likely advised. Starve the flames of oxygen. It is a strategy as old as scandal, and often the most effective. Across the water, Gökberk stood where two roads diverge. The meetings kept stacking, travel kept tugging, the next set date kept marching closer, and still, a steady drumbeat in his chest defied the memos. Some believe that chandelier-lit night flickered into something he found difficult to file under never. And yet the industry's iron calculus has no room for reckless. When he said impossible, insiders argue, it wasn't a dagger meant for her. It was a shield raised in front of her. This is a fire that will burn her longer, he confided to a trusted ear, and I won't toss her to it. He's built to handle heat, they say. She feels deeply, and values her calm. Protecting that calm may have been his point. The digital detectives did what they do, track shades and patterns. His grid turned dusky, monochrome, reflective. Solitary figures. Distant horizons. Her updates cooled and narrowed, as if the radius of her world had been gently tightened. Even interactions with mutuals seemed to drop a few degrees. It doesn't read as absence, it reads as aftermath. Something sparked, beautiful, brief, volatile, and now both are walking carefully through the echo of what almost was. And then the timekeepers moved. Producers, agents, executives, the hands that turn the big gears, reportedly put out quiet memos: shelve this narrative, seal it, store it. If daylight touches this, one intermediary warned, the fallout will outpace a few headlines. Scripts wobble. Deals need surgery. Two carefully managed brands begin to warp under the floodlights. Gökberk's upward path, a homegrown triumph with an international gaze, is not Tinder. Özge's place as a beloved face of nuanced storytelling is not a coin for a fountain wish. So the countermeasures appeared. Joint appearances politely postponed, private meetings excised from planners, a choreography of benign distance. Officially, there's nothing to discuss. Unofficially, the urgency to keep them apart suggests there's more than fantasy at play. Where there's this much choreography, there's usually a flame someone is smothering. And so we arrive at the year's cliffhanger, peering over the edge. The love that was branded impossible, did it truly never take a breath? Or did it inhale once, bright and terrified, only to be pressed back into quiet by family gravity, by the specter of the past, by the cold algebra of an industry that eats risks for breakfast? Istanbul seems united on a single point: the curtain hasn't crashed down. It has been lowered slowly, carefully, heavy velvet drawn over a story that might still slip us one unscripted scene. Now it's your turn, whispers of Turkish stars family. Is impossible a period or a dare? Who carries the heavier silence, Gökberk or Özge? Tell me below. We read everything, and members with the badge get first eyes, first pins. If you want to support this channel and keep this kind of storytelling alive, hit join. It's the surest way to back independent voices. Like, subscribe, and keep your gaze trained on the shadows. That is where the truth tends to linger, even after the music fades.